Well, welcome to the Cinnabar, and we've got an extraordinary episode for you today. You see, I doubt there's hardly anybody alive today who's ever seen what we're going to bring you today. You see, we've got just this extraordinary piece of Winchester history, this beautifully engraved original 1866 carbine, Deluxe, with beautiful wood. And this one has been properly converted to Centerfire. So, of course, it's the Cinnabar. What do you expect? We're going to shoot this thing. So stick around. We'll take a closer look at this gorgeous, gorgeous 66. And then we're just going to see how it shoots. Okay, have a look at this absolutely gorgeous 66 carbine. And we can see beautiful scroll engraving, really reminiscent of L.D. Nimsky. It isn't signed Nimsky, but he didn't sign very many of his works. It looks just identical to a lot of Nimsky's work. In fact, we had a Nimsky engraved Henry in the shop the other day, kind of comparing them, and they look very, very similar. You know, original patina on the gun. Look at this wood. The figure in that wood is just absolutely beautiful. We got some engraving on the buttstock. We've actually got the original cleaning rods in the thing. Moving up here, see lots of barrel blue, and this thing has a fantastic bore. Just really a spectacular example of a engraved 1866. Now we'll turn it over and look at the other side and see very similar. You know, the pattern's the same on both sides of the engraving. We've got some figure in that fore end, and of course some very nice figure down here in the buttstock. Just a gorgeous piece of work. Now, we hear from a lot of people out there with 1866s that have Centerfire versions, and almost everybody's just convinced that they were factory original that way. And the factory did, very late in production, make some Centerfire 1866s. And as I understand it, they went primarily to South America. And what we see, and probably 25% or more of them that come into our shop, have been converted to Centerfire, but converted poorly. And so what happens is, if they have not bushed the front of the bolt, then it backs primers out terrible, and sometimes will even pierce primers. And I'll show you a little close-up of the striker assembly in an original and show you why. But fortunately, this one, we know who converted this one. Probably the best and most knowledgeable Winchester gunsmith alive today, and a good friend of ours. It functions flawlessly, and it's done correctly, so we don't have any hesitation in shooting this old girl, and we're shooting some very, very light loads in it, far less than black powder pressures even. So we're taking it really safe, but the temptation to shoot this old girl is far beyond my ability to resist. Now let's take a little closer look at this firing pin striker assembly. Now we've got an original 44 Henry rimfire cartridge here, and of course it's a copper case rather than brass. And then this is the ammo we've got for today, and it's actually based on a 44 Russian, which is very, very similar dimensionally and can be sized and loaded for 44 Centerfire. Now this is an original 1866 firing pin striker assembly that has been converted to Centerfire. If you can see that little firing pin that's been added to the front, that wouldn't be there on an original. And then of course this striker assembly just screws on the end. This one's had the two little nubbins removed. It would have had little protrusions off of each side on these little wings that would have hit both sides of this original Henry cartridge. So it would have had two chances to get that priming compound in the rim to fire. Now what happens to a lot of people that had altered these 66s to Centerfire, and I don't have a 66 bolt here. They're all back at the shop at Cody, but this is an early 73 bolt face, and they were bushed as well. So if you took all this out of the middle of a 66 bolt face, then you'd have that big hole there and nothing to back up the primer. So what happens on a lot of them that have been improperly converted to Centerfire is those primers back out because it pushes the firing pin back, and there's nothing to stop that primer. And a lot of times even this one was piercing primers because they had the firing pin protrusion too long. So in the case of this particular 66, it's got a similar bushing to this inside that can be removed and the original striker assembly installed. So the way this one's been converted, it's very easy to convert back to rimfire. Now it may be a little difficult to see, but here's a properly converted 66 bolt face. So we can see that there's a bushing around that firing pin instead of that big open area that would be there if we just remove the striker assembly. So the firing pin's protruding through that, and the primer has something backing it up. You can probably see that there's a groove in that bushing, so that with the firing pin moved back, we can take a wide, thin screwdriver and work that bushing back out, and then we can easily put that striker assembly back in there and convert it back to rimfire if we'd like. Okay, just so we know where it's hitting, I'm going to take 3 shots on paper, and then we'll get down to business and shoot a few jugs and some steel. Okay, got a little ricochet on that one. Okay, let's see how we did. Okay, so the windage isn't too bad. We're a little bit left, but we're shooting somewhat high. So as we go after these milk jug kills, we'll end up having to shoot kind of at the base of them. This ought to be fun. Okay, so we got 5 targets out there. We're going to load up 5 rounds and be confident that we're going to hit every time. 1, 2, 3, 4. The loading gates are a little different on these 66s than I'm used to, and it kind of likes to push them right back out at you. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can't hit those jugs on top first. Oh, that's 1 for 1. Oh, there we go. And we'll try the one on the right now. Hey! All right, we got 2 more. Let's hit some steel. And last round. Oh! Not only is this thing absolutely gorgeous, it is a shooter as well. Who'd have thought this 160-year-old rifle or carbine. Okay, so that went so well. Let's see if we can't get out there a little bit further. We're going to try a jug out there at about 100 yards offhand. I'll put 3 in because I don't have confidence I'm going to hit it every time. But it's sure fun trying. Okay, here we go. Hey, I heard that hit. Okay, let's try another one. Must have hit high because the juice ain't coming out from the bottom. Oh, hit right in front of it that time. Okay, one more try. Hey, 2 out of 3. Wow, that is something else to be able to shoot such a work of art and have it shoot so doggone well. Okay, so a couple of those shots were real close together. In that third one, actually it was the second shot that missed, puffed up a little dust right in front. If it was close to these, that's a pretty good group for an old carbine like that, in my old eyes at that distance. And you can see they're a little bit low, and we saw that up close they were a little bit left of windage, so not surprising that that would be a little further. And of course these are really, really light loads, so you know, while they were high up close, they were shooting a little bit low at a little longer distance. Now I'm pretty sure there are very few people that inhabit God's beautiful green earth that ever shot an original deluxe engraved Winchester 66. But at least now you can say you've seen one being shot. Well, thanks for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode even a fraction as much as I've enjoyed making it. Until next time, happy trails from the Cinnabar.